Hey, it's Daddy Steve with a review of Gold Key Commanders. Please like and subscribe. Please do subscribe because it backs the channel and helps us infinitely. Let's get right to it. Julius Caesar, or more affectionately known as Julio. Let's get straight to it. Okay, Indomitable army, deals direct damage to a single troop with some token damage, about 400, which is exactly 400 for the next 5 seconds. For the next 5 seconds, this troop gains 20% attack, 20% defense, and deals 30% more damage. That's an interesting way of going about it, isn't it? So it's not even 400, it's 400 plus the 30%, which my computer brain tells me is 120. Still token damage, but it does last a long time. 5 seconds. Okay. Anyway, so I was just trying to think what Juan is, just to compare. Let's have a look. Quick look. 3 seconds, exactly. So it's still way off, but it does last a little while. It's basically going to buff you. You're going to use him as a secondary commander to buff you with that attack, defense, and damage. So early game, it's not just for that, of course, because everybody else is more or less going to have the same commanders. Later in the game, you're probably going to use him as a secondary commander, like to the late middle game, secondary commander for those buffs. Plus the token attack, because you would never turn it down. Okay, Divine Julio. It's a passive skill, which means it's not determined by rage. The commander takes 10% less damage. There must be damage of all types. If their troop has less than 60% units remaining, whenever it is hit by a basic attack, it has a 10% chance to reduce damage received. I'm assuming it's from a basic attack, not just damage received in general, by an extra 30% for 3 seconds with a 5-second cooldown. So let's not get carried away. It's only a 10% chance, but it's one of these things that you will take. Let's move on. I would not use this as a rally commander. I think incredibly early in the game, people probably will. They probably will, but again, listen. Don't use don't use your gold heads. Yeah, don't use gold heads. Do use gold keys, but not the gold heads for these commanders. Listen, I did say that you can use them to the middle of the game. Let's not get carried away. Even on that Wheel of Fortune, which I'm trying to say, listen, just use your free turns because you will get those commanders in the end. Those commanders are ones that I've said, which are overall for the game are more useful. Some of those can do rallies, and they'll be infinitely better than Julio or Mehmet, who's even number 1. Julio's my number 2. Let's just go past it. I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm not even going to talk about the skill. And of course, you can read it in your own time, but I'm just trying to encourage you in the right ways. Skill number 4, the Founders, another passive skill, aka not based on your age. This will be ever present should he be selected. This commander's troop gains 15% unit capacity. Oof, nice. And as I mentioned in other videos, if nothing else, having more troops means you're going to take less damage because you'll have more troops to do more damage to them. Probably normal damage. I think the word on the street, it includes skill damage. Probably just normal damage because skill damage is defined. But either way, the more you damage them, the less damage you've got counter-attack damage coming back. All good. And as I mentioned, this thing is this little boy right here is expertise. Let's go into the museum. Julio. And then on top of all that, if you can do this, if you can maximize him in the museum as well, we get all damage an extra 20%. Yeah, and he does token damage, 400. So 400 plus another 80 damage. We'll take it, especially early game. And he's got that march speed as well, which I love. I love march speed. And as you know, with all my kind of commander videos, just as good process, depending on where you're at in the game. Yeah, so basically I went in on my little profile picture, top left. If you look at the bottom row, there's commander, third from the left. And then you can have these additional attributes. So yeah, for me, obviously I'm not going to put him in anywhere, but you might want to, depending on where you're at in the game, especially if you're early in the game, you'll be just a happy little bonus, which helps you optimize. For Civilization, Listen, it depends what your strategy is going to be overall. Of course, end game, most people have got Ottoman, and that's where I'm at. But on the build up, then that's where you're going to use these gold key commanders. Then you may well be inclined to have Egypt, you know what I mean, to take away. Okay, so increases archer attack by 5%, rallied army damage by 5%, and building and research speed by a whole 1.5%. I'm pretty sure I use this mainly for China because of the building speed, but obviously, listen, you can click on all these and just think about overall where you need to be in the game. You know what I mean? And what you find most useful. Do you want to conserve your speed ups because I say you're doing a lot of building, or you're doing some research, or you're just about to go into KVK and like me, you're optimizing your skill damage and you're thinking, yeah man, I'll go for Ottoman. All depends. Right, let's look at this talent tree, which I've just updated. I'll try and go through it very quick. I'm aware that I've already been talking for 6 whole minutes. I'm not really into these kind of dry, kind of just tech factual videos. I play the game for fun, but I also like to just kind of give advice where I can. 5 years in the game, so here we go. I mostly talk about the outer edges as always. For this one, 6% more damage, and it is larger than the additional 3% damage that we will receive. So I went for that. And there's not a lot of choice in any of these trees. I really don't like the attack tree at all. And I definitely don't rate the conquering tree for this commander for the reasons already given. And the leadership is weak. So again, really, you want to use Caesar as a secondary commander. For the tree alone, maybe you should use him only as a secondary commander. Anyway, for effortless, whilst in combat, this commander's troop gains a 2.5 bonus to damage dealt every 10 seconds. So we'll just take that. And it's cumulative up to 10%. Victory charge. Whenever this commander's troop defeats another governor's troop, excluding garrisons, he gains 6% attack for 10 seconds. And this effect will be lost if the troop exits combat. Again, out of all the trees and out of all the options, this is the strongest that we got. Let's just finish it off. Martial Mastery. This commander's troop deals 6% more normal damage of all types, but also deals less percent skill damage. He only does token damage anyway. So to do more normal damage is just like on the balance of things. And given there's no other options, let's go for Martial Mastery. I did not go for this, and never go for Last Stand. Your active skill is your best skill. And basically what this says, if you look at the end, it says, though it cannot use an active skill during that time, during those 3 seconds when this Last Stand triggers. And if you can't use your active skill, then you kind of nullifying your best skill yourself, which is slightly pointless. Forget the conquering tree. Any of these increments are timed. Look at that 0.5%. That's pointless. I mean, and everything else is going to be based on conquering, which I'm not going to use this commander for anyway. Here, I'm just thinking, you're more likely to have other commanders as well, like Richard. Richard probably as primary. I say don't use Julio I don't recommend using Julio as primary. Tree alone, if nothing else, as I've said. But there's more chance that you're going to be reliant upon healing. There you go, extra 9%. If Julio you made the crazy error to make him primary, but anyway, we've talked about that. Commander's troop deals 1.5% more normal damage. We'll take that. 3% more unit capacity. Awesome. With this one as well. Yeah, if this commander has less than 50% troops remaining, he gains 9% attack. And the reason why I didn't go down this end of the tree, even though that one's quite interesting, is because the talent points will be utilized on this one, which is just march speed, and this one, which is march speed, which equals 4 talent points just wasted, which could be utilized on things like, I don't know, attack there, health, and health again. I'm not really into march speed. Yes, it gets you there quicker, but once you get there, if you don't have the health, if you don't have the attack, if you don't have the defense, you're gonna lose. You're gonna come off the worst on trades, and that's not what we're here for, is it? So there's a talent tree that I recommend for Julio, otherwise known as Julius Caesar. It's not going to apply if he's a secondary commander, because it's only the talent tree of the primary commander that counts. Please do subscribe, support the channel endlessly. Have a good day. That is Steve, and I am out.